The force of the hit knocked me to the ground. Dazed, I felt someone grab my ankles and begin dragging me. As soon as I looked down, someone stomped on my chest and cut down the two Serbs who were dragging me across the battlefield. I looked up to see who was fighting on top of me. It was Nefertari, who had turned her attention to another Serb. I was still dizzy from hitting the ground. Two hussars came galloping past, forcing any Serbs to fall back away from us. "Take him back," Nefertari yelled, and I felt someone grab my shoulders and begin to drag me away. I lost sight of Nefertari. I began to struggle, eventually broke free, and grabbed a sword from the ground. I ran back into the middle of the battle, ducking and blocking slashes from Serbs. I managed to cut a few down. I was looking desperately for Nefertari. There were a few hussars on the ground by now, who were wearing the same armor as her and me, making my search harder. Two of the hussars were cut down, and both times my heart froze over and dropped to the ground, fearing that it was her. I felt helpless and overcome with fear. Tears froze as they began to run down my face. "Nefertari!" I yelled as loud as I could. I slowly began to see fewer and fewer living Serb soldiers. Suddenly I saw her fiercely fighting two Serbs, ducking and blocking their attacks as she was being forced back. I ran as fast as I could toward her. She killed one. I had almost reached her when she was knocked to the ground. The Serb raised his sword. Before he could bring it down, I slashed mine at him, severing his head from his body. "Are you okay?" I asked. "Yes, I had it under control," she replied as she stood up. "Keep fighting. There are still some alive," she yelled. "We've almost killed them all," someone yelled back. I looked around. All I could see were Prussian soldiers. "They are surrendering," I heard another soldier yell. "Already?" I asked, as I looked at Nefertari, trying to see if she was injured. "I guess so," she replied, looking at me, confused. "Get the wounded back to the castle," I yelled to my soldiers. I turned to Nefertari. "Are you hurt?" I asked as I grabbed her. "I'm fine, really." I looked around at the carnage. "Well, Zayta, we got you your castle," I heard from behind. I turned to see who it was, and was met by Commander Vlad. "Yes. Are all the Serbs dead?" I asked. "It's hard to say, but just look around you," he said as he picked his arms up. "Yeah." I looked down. "We will have to do something about the bodies." "Yes. I'll have a company begin digging graves for the dead Serbs." "All right. Have another two search the Tiger for survivors." "Yes, sir." Hours later, most of the Red Army was back inside the castle walls. The search of the Tiger turned up nothing. I did not realize until I was back in my castle that one of the wings on my armor had broken when I fell from my horse. It threw me off balance just walking with it. Nefertari seemed to disappear upon arriving back at the castle. I spent the better part of an hour looking for her. I finally found her in the main chamber, standing in front of a fire and staring into the flames. She had removed her armor, both still wearing her trousers and red tunic. "What's wrong?" I asked as I walked over to her. "I'm still recovering from the fight," she said as she turned to me. "Are you going to take off your armor?" "Yes." "When is the last time I had it off?" I asked as she put her hands on my shoulders. "What's wrong?" I asked her again. I just need to hold you without your armor on. I thought I was going to lose you today. I can't tell you how scared I was when I saw you get knocked off your horse," she said in a shivering voice. This time I could tell it was not due to the cold.